Hey everybody, I am going to be reading a book today. It's called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. The author is Jon Scieszka, and it is illustrated by Lane Smith. So Miss Barton did not write this book or draw these pictures, but I am going to get to read it to you today. There is an AR test for this book, so after you've watched this maybe 2, 3, maybe even 4 times, feel free to go ahead and take the AR test if you've got some time. All right. Let's get started reading The True Story of the Three Little Pigs by Jon Scieszka and Lane Smith. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I wonder who's talking. Let's find out. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf, but you can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of my diet. Hey, it's not my fault that wolves love to eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. But, like I was saying, this whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. So here it is. This is the real story. I'm excited. Way back once upon a time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. And I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar, and this neighbor was a pig. He wasn't too bright either. When somebody says that somebody's not too bright, that means they're not very smart. So he wasn't too bright either. He'd built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in their right mind would build a whole house out of straw? So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. And I didn't just want to walk into somebody else's house. So I just called, little pig, are you in? No answer. And I was just about to go home without my cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that's when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed. And I snuffed. And I sneezed a great sneeze. And you know what? The whole straw house fell down. Right in the middle of that pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He'd been home the whole time. It seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner just laying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a cheeseburger just lying there. I was feeling a little better, but I still didn't have the cup of sugar, so I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother, and he was a little bit smarter, but not much. He'd built his house out of sticks. So I rang the bell to the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? He yelled back, Go away, wolf. You can't come in. I am shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed, and I snuffed, and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. And you're not going to believe this, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. And when the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know that food is going to spoil if you just leave it out in the open, and so I did the only thing that there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it like a second helping. And I was getting really full. But my cold was feeling a little better, and I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake, so of course I had to go to the next house. And this guy was the first and second little pig's brother. And he must be the brains of the family because his house was built out of bricks. Look at how fat the wolf is getting. That's kind of funny. I knocked on the brick house. No answer. I called, Mr. Pig, are you in? And you know what that rude little porker answered? Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me. That is rude. That is a rude thing to say. Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar. He wouldn't even give me one little old cup for my dear sweet old granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe have a nice birthday card instead of a birthday cake when I felt that cold coming on. I huffed. And I snuffed. And I sneezed once again, and the third little pig yelled out, and your old granny can sit on a pin. Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go a little crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down the pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and just making such a scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two little pigs that I'd eaten for dinner, and they figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't really sound very exciting. So to jazz it up, they wrote down all that huff and puff and blow your house down. They made up the big bad wolf. And that's it. That's the real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar. Okay, and that's the end of the true little story of the true story of the three little pigs. Excuse me. So like I said, please remember that if you have some time today to go ahead and take the AR test for this story, and you can see the author and the illustrator's names right there. Thank you. Have a good day.